herself for the full story. Rebecca Shuttleworth, age 25, lives in Birmingham with her young son, Keanu Williams. She presents herself to friends, family, and professionals as a struggling but loving mother who is trying to do better. She attends parenting classes and claims they are helping. Her son sometimes attends nursery, and when bruises are spotted, explanations come quickly. Keanu fell, bumped into furniture, or had rough play with other children. Social workers and health visitors check in regularly because Keanu is considered vulnerable, but each visit seems to ease their concerns. Rebecca appears cooperative. She keeps the home reasonably tidy and offers tea during visits. Keanu, despite being malnourished, manages to play and smile in front of visitors. Over time, monitoring lessons. The professionals believe Rebecca is improving. They do not know that behind closed doors, Keanu's life is full of fear and pain. Bruises are covered by clothing. Injuries are hidden until they become impossible to disguise. The signs of escalating abuse are present, but they are buried under convincing performances. Soon, the caring image that Rebecca presents will shatter in the most tragic way imaginable. In the final months of Keanu's life, the violence escalates. His injuries become more frequent and severe. He develops patterned bruises across his body, tramline marks suggesting blows from a stick or similar object. Teachers and nursery staff notice injuries but accept Rebecca's explanations. Medical experts later testify about a large abdominal injury, a tear in the mesentery, the membrane that attaches the intestines to the abdominal wall. The force required is likened to a high-speed car crash. Keanu also suffers a fractured skull. Rebecca repeatedly claims Keanu is accident-prone or that other children caused the injuries. She delays or avoids medical care, giving him no chance to recover before more harm occurs. His physical state deteriorates, he becomes tired, subdued, and visibly weaker. On the morning of January 9, 2011, Keanu was gravely unwell. Rebecca calls emergency services only when it is far too late. Paramedics arrive to find the little boy unresponsive, pale, and without signs of life. They attempt resuscitation and rush him to hospital, but the injuries are unsurvivable. The hidden abuse that had been building for months reaches its fatal end, exposing the terrible reality of his short life. The post-mortem examination is harrowing. Keanu has 37 separate injuries, including bruises to his head, back, chest, abdomen, and legs. His skull fracture is evidence of significant blunt force trauma. The fatal injury is the tear to his mesentery, causing catastrophic internal bleeding into his abdominal cavity. Experts tell the court the injury could only have been caused by severe force, comparable to that seen in road traffic collisions. The medical findings indicate the injuries occurred over a period of days, meaning Keanu would have been in extreme pain. His death was not instantaneous, he suffered for hours, possibly more than a day, before collapsing. The injuries are consistent with repeated assaults, not a single accident. Evidence shows Rebecca knew her son was seriously injured but chose not to seek medical help until it was too late. Prosecutors argue that this delay directly contributed to his death. The level of harm, combined with the clear pattern of previous injuries, forms a compelling picture of prolonged and deliberate cruelty. In court, the photographs and expert testimony leave no doubt that Keanu's final days were marked by unbearable suffering at the hands of the person meant to protect him. Following Keanu's death, West Midlands police launch a murder investigation. Detectives collect medical evidence, interview witnesses, and review records from nurseries, health services, and social care. A disturbing pattern emerges: multiple professionals had seen injuries or warning signs, but none had pieced them together. Rebecca's partner, Luke Southerton, is also questioned. He denies causing fatal injuries but admits to occasionally disciplining Keanu. At trial, he is acquitted of murder but found guilty of a single charge of child cruelty for an earlier assault. Forensic analysis of the home finds no signs of forced entry or external attack. The injuries point to abuse inside the household. The serious case review later confirms that safeguarding agencies failed to share critical information and missed opportunities to intervene. Nursery staff had noted concerns. Health visitors had recorded bruises. Social workers had opened and closed cases without escalating risks. Interviews with neighbors reveal occasional sounds of shouting and crying, but no one formally reported their concerns. The investigation concludes with overwhelming evidence that Keanu's suffering could have been stopped if earlier warnings had been acted upon. The tragedy becomes a stark reminder of the dangers of fragmented child protection systems. In June 2013, Rebecca Shuttleworth stood trial at Birmingham Crown Court, charged with murder and multiple counts of child cruelty. She denies murder, claiming Keanu's fatal injuries were accidental. Over 6 weeks, jurors hear detailed medical evidence showing that the abdominal injury alone would have left him in agony and unable to walk normally. Prosecutors present the history of repeated injuries, arguing that Rebecca's behavior showed a complete disregard for her son's welfare. They describe her as manipulative, skilled at convincing professionals that she was a capable mother, all while inflicting harm. The defense suggests that other children in the home could have caused some injuries, but experts testify that the fatal blow required adult strength and intent. The jury finds Rebecca guilty of murder and 4 counts of cruelty. Mr. Justice Spencer sentences her to life imprisonment, with a minimum term of 18 years before parole eligibility. He calls her a cruel, deceitful, and manipulative woman who subjected her son to a lingering death from internal bleeding. Luke Southerton receives a suspended sentence for child cruelty. The courtroom falls silent as the judge's words sink in, a small measure of justice for a life cut short. The serious case review into Keanu's death is damning. It highlights repeated failures in communication between agencies and a lack of professional curiosity when injuries were explained away. The report calls for urgent reforms in how social services track and review recurring injuries in children. Media coverage is extensive, with headlines focusing on the preventable nature of the tragedy. The public reacts with anger and disbelief. Training for teachers, nursery staff, and healthcare workers is strengthened in the West Midlands, with greater emphasis on recognizing patterns of harm. For Keanu's surviving relatives, the grief is lasting. The case becomes a symbol of how dangerous complacency can be in safeguarding. This case is a chilling example of how abuse can hide in plain sight when appearances are trusted over evidence. Keanu's suffering was prolonged because warning signs were missed or ignored. It underscores the need for vigilance, thorough investigation, and decisive action when a child's safety is in question. What can we learn? Keanu's death led to stronger local safeguarding protocols, improved agency communication, and renewed focus on recognizing repeated injury patterns. Rebecca Shuttleworth's behavior shows calculated cruelty masked by performative parenting. The systemic failure lay in unchallenged explanations and lack of multi-agency risk assessment. Protecting children means acting on patterns, not isolated incidents. Every injury tells